Griffin involved as soon as possible.
Fake to the corner. Smith cans the three. And the freshman.
All it took was the little ball fake for Smith to get the space to get the shot up.
Sundell gets denied, and it last hits Sundell as Smith comes up with a rejection.
I thought Aoka Lee had her defender on her back for much of that possession, and Kansas State typically gets her the basketball when she does.
Two defenders come, and Lee and Sundell able to combine on the stop. Quickest assignment you've ever given me, because there's just not that many clips.
110, 110, yes. That's not very many.
It was something that Lindsey Gottlieb joked to us about as well. Smith dives inside for the finish, a nice take.
Here's Kennedy Smith. She's such a strong guard. Goes in, absorbs a little contact, finishes. On the other end, when Aoka Lee...
Here's Sundell, loose dribble. Bounces inside. Layup is good for Taylor. First bucket of the game for the Wildcats. 16 of 22 in that second round game and route to those 36 points. Here's Sundell, nice bounce. And the rejection. Guess who? Rhea Marshall says no. Poor the shooting numbers are for both teams early. She said, you know, we may be kind of harder to scout because Juju's involved in so much as Glenn drops it in.
The defensive game plan is trying to limit her and what she does with the ball in her hands.
Iriafen gets rejected by Lee. Here comes Sundell, flick ahead, Glenn lays it in. A 2-point lead over USC. A big second quarter from the line. Shot at 44% from three this year, significantly upped her attempts.
He remembered the exact date in July where it finally happened, where she got a 3 block.
July 15th. After all summer, you've been begging her to get a 3 block.
Shot to finish.
Akunwafo sets the screen. Samuels the dish. Smith can't bank it in, but the tip is good.
We saw her get an early sub. The pace of the game will dictate how frequently she has to come out.
Walker buries the three. Diana Walker, which won't go for Kennedy Taylor. Here comes Kennedy Smith all the way in with a finish. 11 points in the quarter for Kennedy Smith. Sundell, give and go, knocked away by Howell. Time here for USC. Van Olhoffen gives it up. Howell's three. You bet! And that is how the first quarter will end. Start of the second quarter. Winner of this game plays Connecticut Monday night, 9 Eastern on ESPN in the Elite Eight. Heckel, no. Rebound Walker for Kansas State. Kansas State trying to make the Elite Eight for the first time since 1982 as that three will drop. Couldn't quite come up with it. Here's Sundell, eyes up, Poindexter alone, connects. Timeout USC, what a start to the second for Kansas State. She's just such a unique player that it's harder to stay in stride as that's rejected by Poindexter. Shot clock down to 4. Poindexter tosses to Sundell. Sundell trying to work Smith, who has one foul, and Sundell finishes plus the contact. And that'll be number 2 on Kennedy Smith.
I've been so impressed with Serena Sundell.
Helping a 10-0 run here for Kansas State. Howell drains the three, a much-needed bucket for USC. Sinks it to the corner. Nice move to free herself. The three banks in for Samuels. Spent most of their time focusing on practice yesterday. Was getting back against USC's transition. Sundell the block, and then at last hits Samuels. Van Olhoffen heaves it down the floor, intercepted by Sundell. Poindexter alone, connects! 2 Elite Eight games on ABC tomorrow. The reverse is good.
Poindexter draining one, and then Kaylee Heckel driving it inside.
After they had 3 in the entire first half prior to these possessions. Iriafen, there it is. Kiki's first bucket of the night. Number 3 prospect in this upcoming WNBA draft. Lee, there's an answer for her. First buckets of the game for both talented bigs.
The announcer gift.
Bounces out, Lee waits, dishes. Sundell's leaner is good. Van Olhoffen dumps it in. Marshall gets swallowed up by Lee. Looking to take a lead into half. Heckel behind the back through the lane, able to scoop it in. What a move from Kaylee Heckel to end the first half. Beautiful bucket from Heckel, but it's Kansas State. Lindsay Gottlieb even mentioned that to us when she was studying the tape of Kansas State, realizing right away these would have been opportunities in transition as Marshall drops in the jumper.
10 feet from the basket on the baseline.
Lee, quick turn, gets blocked by Marshall, her third of the day. Van Olhoffen barges in, bounces under. Iriafen flips it out. Marshall again. And a 2-point USC lead. Winner plays Connecticut in the Elite Eight Monday night. Sundell drives it and hits.
Sundell got the defense in rotation because there was a blitz on the other side with the ball screen, and then nice job attacking the closeout.
Van Olhoffen gets one to fall. Made it to the Elite Eight with Oregon State a year ago and is from Tri-Cities, Washington, about 2 hours away from here. Has a ton of family in attendance as Lee able to serve that in with the right hand. Walker spins and floats it in. Diana Walker. Size, a big-time threat from 3, gives it up. Glenn will fire and hit. Jalen Glenn has been huge for this team in limited attempts. And Howell with the answer on the other end. We asked her if she had a preference for where she lands in the draft, and she just said God's plan. Wasn't giving us any headlines as Iriafen buries the jumper. 5 to shoot. Howell in some trouble. Iriafen for 3. No. Howell, yes. 11th turnover. Iriafen again, starting to find that range. Trying to head to the Elite Eight for a rematch with Connecticut. Knocked away, it's Smith again. Smith off to the races and in. Timeout, Kansas State. Here's Sundell. Stops, looking for an angle and finding one.
She really is crafty.
USC playing without Juju Watkins, tearing her ACL in the second round of this tournament as Heckel comes up with a steal and blurs to the bucket. With 2 for more than a quarter.
You saw it there. Clarice Akunwafu was the one who had the deflection so that Heckel could get it and go the other way.
USC navigating without Juju Watkins. As Walker can't finish, Lee can. Aoka Lee with her 9th rebound of the game. Neither team is led by more than 7 at any point in this game. Sundell dives in, can't finish.
Sundell had the switch of Marshall out on her, so Kansas State cleared that side of the floor.
Howell, another 3. 14 points for Avery Howell and her 4th 3 of the game. Walker looking to get around Howell, elevating and dropping it in. Kennedy Smith eyeing Sundell all the way up the floor. Sundell held the foot, dumps it in, and Lee ties the game. 10-3 run from Kansas State. Marshall banks it in.
That's the matchup that USC has the advantage because Sundell is 6'2" in size. But
pass kind of split the difference. Howell ends up free. Howell, no. Marshall,
the switch defensively. You just simplify.
Yeah.
Post up and throw it to the guard.
Sundell simplify it there too. And Lee floats it in. Here's Howell. Gets the handoff. Howell scoops it in. Avery Howell with 16.
Howell just taking the hand off and does a great job as soon as she gets Poindexter on her hip.
Sundell, 5 to shoot. Walker eyes the clock. Walker with 2 to shoot. Elevates and hits.
Attacking the rim, and how about Walker? Shot clock running down. That's just making something out of nothing.
Heckel bounces in. Oh, nice move. And Smith lays it home. Poindexter turns the corner and finds Lee for the lay. Into the arms of trusty Sundell. Sundell backing in and lays it home. It is a 1-point game.
Got the switch they wanted for Sundell in the post.
Can she take the freshman Heckel? She can. There you go. 2-point game. 1 minute remaining in the fourth. Sundell went for the steal. Here's Smith. Smith driving and has it taken away. Heckel sinks the free throw. Hits the next. Glenn Hoyce, and that will do it. USC is still alive. Headed back to the Elite Eight for a rematch with Connecticut.